Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily Quiz for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 27th August and in this session we are going to discuss these important articles which were in the newspaper today and which are on this slide. If you are the first time visitor of this channel or if you are first time clicking any such video from my YouTube channel, then let me introduce this initiative to you guys. Every day on this YouTube channel, in this video, we discuss three types of questions which are relevant for your preparation. The first set of questions are those which are taken from the current affairs itself. We take up the important articles from the newspaper, we discuss them briefly, we take up the most important information from those articles, and we derive the questions from those articles so that it will help you in two ways. First, revising your current affairs, and also it will help you connect to your current affairs with your preparation, how current affairs can be asked in the prelims exam. It gives you that idea. And second type of questions which we discuss in this session are related to the static portion. I had promised you that every day we will discuss some static topic in this session, and we had started from the Indian polity, and today we are going to discuss the Charter Act of 1853. The source which we are taking for the Indian polity is the Lakshmi Kant book, so we are going to take every topic in that book. So today the topic is Charter Act of 1853. We will discuss it. We will discuss it in very detailed manner, and we will derive some prelims based questions from this article. And at the end of this session, we will take up some questions related to the which are from the previous year questions which were asked in the previous exams, so that it will give you the best idea how the questions do come in the exam and what can be the methods which you can utilize while solving those questions, and also gain the information from these questions. If I was at your place, what I will do, I will start writing all these questions on my notebook. I will develop my own question bank from this initiative, and when my exams would be near, I will start revising those questions, because it will definitely help me in two ways. First, it will help me in revising my current affairs, and also it will give me the confidence that I am prepared well for my examination. It will act as a question bank for me. So I would request you guys, please do open your notebook and start writing these questions, or at least take the screenshots of these questions if you are, अगर आप काम चोर हो तो. Now, without any delay, let's have a look at the articles which we have to discuss today, and let us see how we will discuss it. Let's discuss them. First, have a look at the articles itself. The first article which was in the newspaper, it is basically about the HEMA committee report, which is actually about the fresh allegation, which is actually about the Kerala film industry. The fresh allegations related to the Kerala film industry, the the inhuman acts which women go through in this industry. So it is related to that. We will discuss it a little bit in detail, and it is basically the mains based topic, but we will derive some information which is relevant for your prelims also. And the second topic, it would be about the delays in the census. We will discuss about the census. We will derive the most important information which is relevant for your preparation with respect to the census in India, and we will frame a question on this. Then the unending war in Gaza, we will discuss about it and take up some important information from it and derive some prelims based questions from this article also. Then after, you would have read in the newspaper about the unrest in Balochistan. We will discuss about it and see how it is relevant for your preparation. Then after that, we will discuss about the literacy, push in literacy for the adults. We will discuss about it. We will discuss the schemes which were brought in by the government. We will discuss it in detail and derive how it is relevant for your preparation. Then after that, we will discuss a small concept in our Indian polity, which is plea bargaining. We will discuss about it, how it is relevant, and the recent reports about plea bargaining in India. We will discuss about it. Then finally, after that, we will discuss an important topic in our Indian polity. It is about the Charter Act of 1853. Basically, this topic is more relevant for the modern history. But since we are understanding the Indian polity, we need to understand these charter acts. So here we are going to discuss it. And then finally, we will discuss few previous year questions. So Without any delay, let's have a look at the first topic which we have to discuss today, and that is the HEMA committee report. Here, about the HEMA committee report, before going directly, what are the recent, what is this report about? What does it say? Before going to that, let's go back a little bit in the history and let's examine the condition of India with respect to the protection to women and with respect to the inhuman conditions faced by the woman in India. You know, if we will go back in the history from 1973, from 1970, even from the early ancient times, there were rape cases in India all over many states. But the famous ones are the Nirbhaya case rape, which happened in 2012. In it, a lady doctor, she was brutally raped and murdered by some goons. Because of this rape, a committee was held for this, that was called the Justice Verma Committee, and it recommended few changes with the criminal laws in India, and it amended the criminal laws in 2013 and introduced few features in this. So what were the few features of this amendment? It led to the minimum punishment from 7 years to the 12 years. The minimum punishment for the rape and assault of a woman, it was earlier 7 years, then it went to the 12 years. This is little bit background of the situation in India right now. With respect to this, then different guidelines were framed, protection for women, what the rape is defined, the rape also, it's about the definition of the rape. It is then unwilling sexual assault to woman, when woman is not willing for when there is no consent from the woman. With respect to this, there is a concept that if a powerful man, for example somebody is working under him, and he tries to sexually assault the woman, he tries to have sexual relation with the woman, and woman, because of the fear of the loss of the job, because of the fear that he can fire him, so because of that she lets him to do that act. And under this, under these amendments, this was also included as the rape, because the powerful man is misusing his power and is assaulting some woman sexually. It was also added in this, but in 2000, in this in the it was also added in the definition of the rape. So with this, in 2017, a famous Malayalam film actress, she alleged that she was raped and assaulted by an actor there, and she was kidnapped by that actor, and his name was Mr. Dilip. And with this, when it went when it it this case raised some huge questions. That famous Malayalam actress, she was allegedly raped and assaulted by that actor, which is Mr. Dilip, and because of this case he was arrested and he was sent to the jail. And because of this case, it led to the formation of Justice HEMA Committee, which whose report was recently revealed. So this is the background of the Justice HEMA Committee. It goes back to the 2017, when an Malayalam film actress, she was allegedly raped and kidnapped by a co-actor named Mr. Dilip, who was arrested for that case. And this case, it led to the formation of Justice HEMA Committee. What this HEMA Committee has to do, it has to you know it has to study the Kerala film industry, it has to study the environment for the woman there, it has to study various cases with respect to the woman there. And and the cases, the report, it it gave its report, but it was not published for some time. But because of the orders from the Kerala High Court, it was finally published, and it showed various concerns in the Kerala film industry. It shows that there are various women who are allegedly assaulted by the co-actors, by the people with the power. So it showed various holes in the Kerala film industry with respect to the woman. So this is all about this HEMA committee report. how it was released because of the intervention from the High Court. It was not earlier released because of some because of some choices made by them, but by the intervention from the High Court of the Kerala, it was revealed, and it showed there are many holes in the Kerala film industry. Many women are facing challenges there. Many women are not able to get the job if they are not open to the sexual relationships with the co-actors or the people with the power in the film industry. So it definitely showed many holes in the Kerala film industry. So this is the core concept about the HEMA committee report. And also with this, it encouraged women to come up, to come up in and showcase showcase to the world what they had gone through, showcase to the country. It encouraged the other actors to to come up and show the country what they had gone through. And it brings us back to the 2018 when Me Too movement started. It actually started in the West, then it spread in India too. It showed how many actresses they went up in the air and showed to the world how they were assaulted, how the co-actors tried to ruin their sexual relationship, how they tried to ruin their lives by how they granted them the job only for the cause of the sexual relationship. So this is all about this topic. Here comes a core concept, that who is responsible for all these sexual allegations, all these sexual assaults happening in the country. Recently we had seen the Kolkata case also. A doctor, she was brutally raped and murdered by somebody there. So we saw there are huge cases of rape and murder going on in our country. So who has the real responsibility? Is it the government which should be held for that, or it is the society it is the society who should be brainwashed, who should be sanitized about this idea? So according to the author, it is the work of the both the government and the society should be sanitized. Government should bring up such rules and regulations which would protect the woman to the best, and the society should be sanitize their ideas should be cleared. It is not the fault of the woman by wearing the shorter clothes. It is the fault of the society, though the society needs to be sanitized. This was about this whole scenario. I think this is the enough information about the HEMA committee report. This is the enough information which was in the newspaper. I hope you had understood the topic. I assume that you had already discussed it. Why I am repeating it here, so that you can connect this quiz with the context. Now with this, let's look at the question which can be framed from this article with respect to the prelims. There is no such information available with respect to, there is not many questions can be formed from this article itself with respect to the prelims. If we will take up only this article here, if we will go to the details, if we will go to the history of the rapes in India, then we will have to touch the Aruna Shahbang case also. Then we will come up through the euthanasia. There would be then definitely there would be concepts would come which would be relevant for your prelims exam. But limiting our information here, let us see what can be the question asked from this discussion. Let's go to our quiz and let's see that topic. Here the question says the Justice Verma Committee, established in December 2012, is best known for its recommendations on which of the following issues. It gives you the brief idea about the Justice Verma Committee. Such questions do come in the exams, such questions do come in the prelims. Now let's see how many of you can answer this. Let's solve this question together. The first statement here is legal reforms related to sexual assault and violence against women. 100% correct. That is what we discussed. It came after the Nirbhaya case. Second statement here, the implementation of a nationwide biometric identification system. No, it is incorrect. Third, enhancing the powers and autonomy of the Central Bureau of Investigation. Totally incorrect. So for this question, the correct statement is statement 1, and from the code given below, the correct answer would be option A. With this, I hope you had understood the topic, and I hope you got the way by which you can connect the information in the newspaper with the prelims preparation. With this, let's move to the another article of today's discussion, which is the no more delays in census. Now let's discuss about it, what it is, what census is, who conducts the census, what is the idea about it, when was the first census conducted, and when was the last census conducted, why do we need the census. Let us discuss about this in this article. I would again repeat, I assume that you had already discussed, you had already read the newspaper. If you had not read it, then it is okay. At least we are going to discuss the most important points from the newspaper here, and we will derive a question from this article. The article is about the no more delays in census. Census is very much important event in our country. Especially, it is actually important everywhere in the world, in every country in the world. With respect to India, normally we conduct census every 10 years. It is conducted by the Registrar General and Census Commissioner. You know, it is conducted. This census is conducted under the Census Act of 1948 and Census Rules of 1990. It is a decadal exercise. It is conducted every 10 years, but there is no such law which defines that. There is no such law which determines that the census should be conducted every 10 years. If any such question will be asked in your exam, that Indian Constitution categorically says, or any Indian law categorically says that census should be conducted after 10 years, that would be incorrect, because there is no such law which categorically says that census should be conducted after every 10 years. About the census, the first non-synchronous census was conducted in 1872. What is this non-synchronous census? It means that it was conducted in few states at one time, not in the whole country. But the first full-time synchronous census was conducted in 1881, and since then the census was conducted every 10 years. And from in 1931, it was the last census when the cost was also included in it. When the census used to happen, when the government used to conduct the census, they would ask about the cost, to which cost do you belong. They would connect to the every cost which was possible then. So from the 1941, the cost was not added in it, only the population census was conducted. And with respect to this census, the last census was conducted in 2011. It was supposed to be conducted in 2021, but unfortunately, due to the COVID-19, the country was not able to conduct it because of the lockdowns. But still, it is 2024. It is about we are in the last phase of the 2024, and still we had not conducted the census. So it raises various questions. Why government is not conducting the census? Because there are many allegations against the government, and one of that allegation is that the government has to go for the delimitation of the 2020 for the 2016, and they believe that they are going to delimit they are going for the delimitation without conducting the census. It would raise many concerns with respect to the many states. So there are various concerns that government, it is said that government is delaying it purposely, that they are delaying the census purposely. Here, about coming back to the census, we should know that in our country, census is conducted usually in two phases. In the first phase, house listing or housing census is conducted. It gives the idea how many kacha and paka houses are in our country. And in the second phase, the population enumeration is conducted. What is the population of a particular of our country. So in this way, the census is conducted. During this census, what are the questions asked to the people? What is the age? What is the marital status? What is the religion? What is the caste? Whether it is social, whether it is SC or ST, whether it belongs to the SC or ST. But here the question can be asked, if they conduct it, like if they ask such questions like whether you belong to the SC or ST, why do we need to conduct the caste census? But the answer to it is because they limit it to the SC and ST only. OBCs are not counted in it. So for that reason, we need the caste census. And also, many other questions are asked, like what is your mother tongue, what is the fertility rate of the woman there, and also is anybody from your house who has migrated to any other state. So various different questions are asked. Now the question here arises that why do we need a census? Census is very much important event. It gives the government the idea about the population. Government has to frame the policies, and those policies they are for the particular people, so that they frame those policies for the particular people. So for making those policies successful, we need to know who are the beneficiaries of those policy. To understand that, we have to conduct the census. So in a nutshell, the census conducting of census becomes very much important for the successful implementation of the policies. And also, why do we need census? Because we have the panchayati raj institutes in our country. From the 73rd and 74th amendment act, we have panchayati raj institutions. For them we need there is the need of the reservation for SCs and STs, and that reservation is proportional to the population of a particular village. So with respect to that also, the census is very much important. And because by conducting the census only, we can give the adequate representation to those scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. So this is how the census becomes important for us, how it is important for the policy framework, and how we need to conduct it very quickly. There should be no more delays with respect to the census. So I hope this much is enough for you to understand the topic itself. And now let's move to the question which can be asked from this article. Here the question says, which of the following statements correctly describe aspects of the census conduction process in India? We have to see what are the aspects of the census conduction process in India. First statement: the census in India is conducted every 10 years by the Office of the Registrar General and the Census Commissioner. 100% correct, but unfortunately it has been delayed for a few years. Second statement: the most recent census data collection was scheduled to occur in 2021 but was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. 100% correct. Third, the census data collection includes the enumeration of the population as well as details on the economic activity and housing conditions. 100% correct. So for this question, all the statements are correct here, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option D. With this, let's move to the another topic of the discussion today, which is unending war in Gaza. This is very much unfortunate for the world, since as everybody here who would be watching this video would be aware of this. On October 7, 2023, the Hamas, they entered into the Israel and killed many Israeli people, and they captured money. They captured many people there and held them as hostages. And in retaliation, the Israel went for the war, and they had killed 40,000 Palestinians till now, and many people, lakhs of people got injured, and lakhs of people had lost their houses, have lost their family. So it has a devastating impact on in the Middle East right now. With respect to this, when there is such war going on, and we understand the condition of the Middle East, we understand the condition of the West Asia. There are numerous rising powers. There is Saudi Arabia is there, which is a Sunni bloc. The Iran, which is very much near to them, it is the Shia bloc. And Iran is trying to show that it is the sole superpower in that region. And with respect to this war, Iran has been in the proxy war. They are supporting the Houthi rebels in Yemen. They are supporting the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and they are going for different attacks. They are going for proxy war with the Israel through these militant groups. We had seen recently the leader of Hamas was killed in Iran, and it is alleged that the Israel killed him, and it has led to the huge backlash on the Israel, and it is supposed that there were many attacks in Iran also. So there is huge war-like conditions in it. It is not only when such wars occur, it does not limit to that area only. The impact of the war is not limited to that area only, but it spreads to the whole world. We know right now if to understand this, we have to understand the concept of the Red Sea, which is very much useful for the maritime trade, but unfortunately it has been blocked by the Houthis, and because of that, there are price, there are economic conditions get worsened. Trade has been impacted because of that. The prices has risen because of that, because of the blocking of the Red Sea. So in a nutshell, the impact of this war has already spread to the world also. There are there is a very huge amount of information that can be grabbed from this article, which is relevant for your exam. For example, the examiner can ask you a direct question on Houthi and Hezbollah. They can ask you a question on the maritime borders of Israel. They can ask you a question on the borders of Iran. They can even ask you a question on the Red Sea. So there many questions can be asked from this with respect to your prelims preparation. I know there is not much to be discussed about this topic itself, because everyone knows everything about it. This war is still going on. According to the author, this condition can be settled only if there is a ceasefire in the Gaza. Then only Iran can settle down, Israel can settle down, and all those rebels can settle down. About Houthi and Hezbollah, they are before discussing this, we should know that in Muslim community there are two superpowers. One are Shia and Sunni. They have the political division in Islam. Eh, Iran is a Shia superpower and Saudi Arabia is Sunni superpower. And by that, Iran, it supports the Shia militant groups like Houthi and Hezbollah. About Houthi and Hezbollah, they are also the Shia militant groups. Houthi, they belong to the Yemen, and Hezbollah belong to the Lebanon. This is basic information about it, and let's see what question can be derived from this article itself. Now moving to the is here. It says, which of the following statements correctly describe the strategic significance and geographical context of Bab al-Mandeb? It is a choke point in the Arabian Sea. So let's see what does it say about the Bab al-Mandeb. First statement, Bab al-Mandeb is a strait located between the Arabian Peninsula and the Horn of Africa, connecting the Red Sea to the Gulf of Aden and the Arabian Sea. 100% correct, nothing wrong with it. Second statement, the strait is one of the world's busiest maritime choke points and is critical for global maritime trade routes, particularly for the transportation of oil. 100% correct. Third, Bab al-Mandeb is situated to the north of the Suez Canal. This is incorrect because it is situated to the south of the Suez Canal. Therefore, in this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. And from the code given below, the correct code is 1 and 2 only. With this, let's move to the another topic which was in the news today. Let us see. It is about the unrest in Balochistan region. If you would have read the newspaper or anywhere while scrolling the social media, you would have come through this, that there is an attack in the Balochistan region and many people had died because of that attack. About Balochistan, we should know few important facts. It has a rich cultural history. This Balochistan region, it is divided into three parts. It is divided into three countries. One, Iran, second, Pakistan, and third, Afghanistan. You would had, if you had followed the current affairs recently, you would have seen a news in the internet, in the social media, that Iran has attacked Pakistan in this region because they believed that the terrorists which are located in the Pakistan region, they are entering into their region, and they are trying to separate that Iran spot from the Iran and add it to the Pakistan spot. So this was the whole concept about that attack. Because of that reason, they attacked Pakistan. So there is a huge unrest in this region. About this region, I will repeat again, it is divided into three parts. One is in Iran, one is in Pakistan, and one is in Afghanistan. About this Balochistan, which is in the Pakistan, it was not always with the Pakistan, but because of it was actually under a autonomous king, we can say Khan of Khalat. He announced it as a separate country. But in 1948, because of the instrument of accession, Pakistan got it into its territory. Pakistan made it the part of the country in 2048 because of the instrument of accession. In this Balochistan region, we have the Gaudar port, which is very much important. It has a strategic importance. China is working on it. About this Gaudar port, it was not always the part of the Pakistan. It was under the Oman, but in 1955, in 1958, it was taken because of the money discussions with the Oman. It was finally taken by the Pakistan, and this Gaudar port has been leased to China for its development. Basically, it has been made the military port for the China right now. It has been leased for the 40 years. Now, what is the connection of this? Why we are connecting this China port in with respect to this Balochistan region? The reason of the unrest. There are various reasons of the unrest, and a few were highlighted in the article. The first reason is that the economic condition of this region has been worsened. There is least federalism. There is least power vested in this region for these people. Actually, I got somewhere here. Now someone was here. Now where we were, this region of the Balochistan, you know, they enjoy least federal powers. Least federalism is there. They enjoy least provisional powers. Because of that, also there is unrest. Because of the economic condition in that state, in that part of the Pakistan is very worsened. The Pakistan government is least concerned about it. Because of that, also there is huge unrest, and also they feel that the Chinese workers who are working in the Gwadar port, they feel that their demography is under threat, that the Chinese people are overshadowing their local identity. Because of all these factors which are involved with this, with the Balochistan, there is huge unrest. They demand the autonomous state for them, and because of that demand, there is the unrest, and people are dying here. Why it is important for India? During when there was no Taliban rule from 2001 and 2000, recently 2021-22, when there was no Taliban rule, when there was a friendly country, Indian friendly country, India was hugely invested in Afghanistan, which is very much neighbor to the Balochistan, and Pakistan always alleged India for all this unrest in Balochistan. They said that it is caused by India. The unrest which the Balochistan is facing right now, it is because of the India. So because of that, also it becomes important for us. And let us see what can this. I think this is more than enough for you to understand the basic concept about the unrest in the Balochistan. Now let us see how the UPSC can frame a prelims based question on this topic. Here the question says, which of the following statements accurately describe the ongoing unrest in Balochistan? The first statement, the unrest in Balochistan is primarily driven by demands for greater political autonomy and control over natural resources, 100% correct. Second, the region of Balochistan is located in Pakistan and shares a border with Afghanistan and Iran and India, totally incorrect. It does not share border with India. Third, it definitely shares border with Iran and Afghanistan, but does not share border with India. Third, major international actors involved in mediation efforts to resolve the Balochistan conflict include the United Nations and the European Union. No, they are not yet involved in the negotiations, so this is also incorrect. So for this question, the correct statement is statement 1, and from the code given below, the correct option would be option A. With this, let's move to the last article which was in the news. It is about the push for adult literacy. According to the with the context of this adult literacy, according to the census of 2011, it is said that more than 25 crore Indians who are in the age group of 15 years to or above were illiterate. And by this, they were not able to read or write. They have least literacy. By this came the program that is called the New India Literacy Program. Under this New India Literacy Program, it is said that each year 1 crore such individuals would be brought in such program. They will be given the opportunity to read, write, and have some numerical knowledge. In this program, they will be educated about the basic. They will be given education about the basic education, elementary level education, primary level education, and digital literacy, and also financial literacy. And at the end, when they will take all these programs, when they will go through all these programs, a test would be conducted for them, that is the foundation literacy numeracy assessment test, and in this test if they will get 33% of the marks, they will be deemed literate, and they will be given the certificate that they are declared as literate. So this is whole concept about it. About the literacy, it is said that if a state is having 95% or above 95% literacy in any state, then that state would be considered as a fully literate state. So with this topic, let's see what can be the question asked in the prelims exam. Here the question says, which of the following statements correctly describe the objectives and features of the New India Literacy Program aimed at adult literacy? Here the statements are: the New India Literacy Program is a governmental initiative, 100% correct; aimed at enhancing the literacy levels among adults, 100% correct; aged 15 years and above, 100% correct; focusing on both rural and urban areas, 100% correct. Nothing wrong with this statement. Second statement, the program aims to achieve 100% adult literacy across India by the year 25, 100% incorrect. There is no such provision in this. Third, it incorporates digital literacy components to improve the technological skills of adult learners, 100% correct, and includes a special emphasis on women and marginalized community, 100% correct. Nothing wrong with it. So with this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and 3, and from the code given below, the correct option would be option C. So with this, we complete our daily discussion with respect to the current affairs. I will again repeat it. The purpose of this video is not to discuss the current affairs. The purpose is to derive the questions from the current affairs. So we discuss it. What is the reason for discussing it here? We discuss them so that you will get the idea, you will get the basic idea where from the questions came, and you will be able to connect the current affairs you will be able to connect the current affairs with your preparation. That is the core idea about this initiative. Now with this, let us move to our static part, which I had promised you every day we will discuss, and today we are going to discuss the Charter Act of 1853. Sorry, I'm really sorry, I forgot to discuss the last topic, which is minimum use of plea bargaining, which was in the news today. About plea bargaining, it is very small article. It was very small article. Let's try to understand it in a very simple way. Plea bargaining, let's suppose some crime happened and there is some accused, and for that accused the FIR will be filed, charge sheets will be filed in the police station, and then that person will be taken to the court. It takes years, sometimes it takes huge amount of time for those under trials, for happening the trial, and because of that the cases keep on piling up, and there is huge burden on the Indian judiciary. So to cope up with this, the concept of plea bargaining came in India in 2005. What is the core concept behind it? Core concept behind the plea bargaining, it is that the accused will be given the chance that if he accepts the guilt, then it will, if he accepts the guilt, and the trial will end, and because of that the piling up of cases will reduce, the burden of the cases will reduce on the judiciary, and what will be the benefit that the accused will get? His punishment will be reduced. So this is the whole concept about it, but there are some exceptions. For example, this plea bargaining applies to only those crimes whose maximum punishment is 7 years. It excludes the crimes against women, children, and various socio-economic offenses. And also, with this we should know that if there is a first time criminal with respect to this, for them the court for them the sentence can be reduced to 1/4 or 1/6 of the what is the punishment. For example, अगर किसी क्राइम की punishment 4 साल है तो उसको 1 साल कर सकते हैं, उसके लिए 1/4 or 1/6 of that punishment will be reduced if the accused is the first time criminal. So what are the exceptions in it? It is not allowed to the crimes whose maximum punishment exceeds 7 years. First, not allowed for those who are involved in the cases with respect to the women or children or various socio-economic offenses. So this is about it. Why did we find the mention of the plea bargaining? We find the mention of the plea bargaining in the CRPC. Also we find the mention of the plea bargaining in the Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita also under section 290. So with this, what was the report, why does it say there is minimum use of the plea bargaining? Because recently a report came and it said that out of all the cases which were settled in India, only 0.11% of cases belong to the plea bargaining. So there is minimum use of the plea bargaining happening in our country. There are various concerns with plea bargaining also, but that we will discuss in our discussion when we will take up the Indian judiciary. Now, with this, let us see what can be the question framed with respect to the prelims here. Here the question says, which of the following statements accurately describe the concept and legal framework of plea bargaining in India? Question number one, statement one, plea bargaining is a legal procedure where the accused agrees to plead guilty to a lesser charge in exchange for a lighter sentence. 100% correct. This is the whole concept of it. Second statement, the Supreme Court of India has expressly prohibited plea bargaining in its judgments. This is absurd and incorrect statement. Third statement, plea bargaining in India is governed by provisions included in the Criminal Procedure Code, specifically under section 265A to 265L, 100% correct, and also in BNSS under section 290, which is Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita. So this statement is also correct. So from this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, we complete our today's discussion with respect to the current affairs. Now let's look at the static portion topic, which is Charter Act of 1853. Since we had taken up the static portion, we had first the subject which we are discussing here is the Indian polity. And as I always say that to understand the Indian polity, we have to understand it from the history. And from the history portion, it is modern history becomes very much important for us, especially when the East India Company came into action. So to understand this, to understand the Indian polity, we have to understand all the acts which were framed by the East India Company and by the British government itself. So we had discussed various acts, various charter acts in this session. So today it is the turn of the Charter Act of 1853. About this act, we should know that it was the final step towards centralization in about this act, about the Charter Act of 1853. We should know that it has a significant constitutional landmark. It was the last of the series of charter acts passed by the British Parliament between 1793 and 1853. So this was the last charter acts passed by the British Parliament between 1793 and 1853. It has a huge significant constitutional landmark. It was a huge significant constitutional landmark. What are the key features of this Charter Act of 1853? We should know that it separated for the first time the legislative and executive functions of the Governor Generals in Council. First we knew that the first phase of the East India Company first phase of the British Parliament was to go for the centralization again, because they tried to have the same government which was there in our country, like there was a central king which was the Mughal king. So they tried to bring that shape of the polity in here, so that we should not feel, the people in our country, they should not feel that they are ruled by somebody else. They wanted to give the idea that they are ruled by the Mughals but in different uniform. So they tried to go for the centralization, because we knew that after the death of the Aurangzeb, there was huge decentralization. So their first step was to go for the centralization. But when they started to go for the centralization, it has huge number of holes in going for this, this way of in going for this way of governance. So by the Charter Act of 1835, they understood that centralization, going for the having the supreme power in one hand, does not is not that much helpful in the governance of the country. Though from the Charter Act of 1853, the decentralization started again, but with the vision of the modern polity, how the modern polity with the vision of the democracy. So they with the vision of the democracy, with the vision of the modern understanding of the governance. So this was the first step towards the decentralization. Now in it separated for the first time the legislative and the executive functions of the Governor General's Council. So what it did, it provided for the addition of 6 new members called legislative councillors to the council. So it provided for the addition of the 6 new members called legislative councillors to the council, and also it established a separate Governor General's Legislative Council, which came to be known as the Indian Central Legislative Council. So this 6 new members, they came to be known as Indian Central Legislative Council. This council acted as a mini parliament, like adopting the same procedures as a British Parliament. So this council, it acted as the mini parliament in this Governor General's Council. It acted as the mini parliament. Here we are understanding the key features of this. Let's try to recap. It is first key feature of this Charter Act of 1853. It separated for the first time the legislative and executive functions of the Governor General's Council. It added addition of 6 new members called legislative councillors to the council. It was called as the Indian Central Legislative Council. It acted as a mini parliament because it followed the same procedures as followed in the British Parliament. About this Charter Act of 1853, another important key feature of this is it introduced the open competition system of selection and recruitment of civil servants. So it introduced this open competition system of selection and recruitment of civil servants, and because of this, the covenanted civil service was thus thrown open to Indians too. So because of this act, the Indians could also apply for this covenant civil service exams. And also about this, another key feature of this was it extended the company's rule and allowed it to retain the possessions of Indian territories on trust for the British Crown. So it extended the company's rule, but there was a clear indication that company's rule could be terminated at any time by the parliament as they like so, because there was no time frame given for the company's rule. They did not extend it for next 20 years as they earlier used to do. So there was no time frame. It clearly showed that the British company's rule is about to come, and when the parliament likes, they will end this company's rule. And also we should know that another important feature of this Charter Act of 1853 is it introduced for the first time local representation in the Indian Central Legislative Council. So these are the key features of the Charter Act of 1853. Now let us see how UPSC can ask a prelims based question from this article itself. Here the question says, which of the following statements correctly describe the provisions and impacts of the Charter Act of 1853? The first statement, the Charter Act of 1853 introduced the system of open competitive examination for the recruitment of civil servants in India. 100% correct. Second statement, the act marked the end of the East India Company's rule and the beginning of the direct British government rule in India. No, it is incorrect. It extended the East India Company's rule, but it did not give the time frame for that. So the end of the East India Company's rule was done by the Act of 1858, by the Government of India Act of 1858. It was ended by that, not by the Charter Act of 1853. In a Charter Act of 1853, it extended the rule of East India Company without giving the time frame. The third statement, it also established a separate legislative council for the presidency of Bengal, providing it with the authority to enact laws. Totally incorrect. No such provision was given. So for this question, the correct statement is only statement 1, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option A. So with this, we complete our daily discussion with the static portion also. Now have a look at the questions asked in the previous year. Let's try to grab most information from them, and let's try to find out the ways by which we can solve those questions. Here the first question is, which of the following revolts was made famous by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee in his novel Anand Math? If we look at this question in the next exam, they can directly ask you a question, the novel Anand Math was written by whom? If you had read this question, if you had gone through your previous year questions, then you would be very much it would be very much easy for you to answer that. But here if you had not read it, it would become very much difficult. Here we are discussing this question itself. Now let's try to find out which of the following revolts was made famous by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee in his novel Anand Math. Was it Bhil uprising? No. Was it Rangpur and Dinapur uprising? No. Was it Bishnupur and Birbhum rebellion? No. It was definitely the Sannyasi rebellion. So for this question, the correct option is option C. Now moving forward to the another question, it says with reference to the revolt of the year, who of the following was betrayed by the friend captured and put to death by the British? Was who among these leaders who were revolting was betrayed by the friend? Was he Nana Sahib? No. Was he Kumar Singh? No. Was he Khan Bahadur Khan? No. Was he Tatya Top? 100% correct. He was betrayed by his friend Man Singh. So for this question, the correct option is option D. Now coming to the last question of today's discussion, it says who was the Governor General of India during the Sepoy Mutiny or the revolt of 1857? Was he Lord Canning? Let's keep it him here. Was he Lord Dalhousie? No. Was he Lord Hastings? No. Was he Lord Lytton? No. Lord Lytton came way back, way after that. So for this question, the correct option would be option A. He was Lord Canning. When we know about these questions, we definitely get the different ideas also. For example, in question 1, we got the idea about the novel named Anand Math. UPSC has asked about this question. It won't be surprising if they directly ask a question about the novel Anand Math. So it becomes very much important for you to revise the previous year questions of the UPSC so that it gives you the brief idea how the questions are asked and how you can utilize that information which has been asked in previous exams in the upcoming exam. So with this, I conclude today's discussion. I hope you had understood it. I hope you would definitely subscribe, and please do write in the comments what are the changes we should bring in this initiative. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Best of luck, and I hope you succeed in the upcoming exam. Thank you very much.